All right, we
So,
are on.
all right, yes, we are on. It's 6:02, so I guess we may have to start. Like I said, we'll have to stop at 7 sharp. Okay?
All right.
All right, so go ahead
So,
then, Joseph. Yeah.
yeah, good evening, all. Good evening, C89. This is the fourth in the series of lectures that will be coming up on the platform of the collaboration between C89 and Aspire for Excellence Foundation. The foundation founded by our own Mr. Mike Iwegbu. And it's a good thing that we're collaborating with this foundation because they have experience when it comes to facilitating lectures that empowers people. So the purpose of this lecture is for the health of our members, the health and total well-being of our members. There will be many more lectures in the nearest future. So you are welcome to this first in the series of lectures. I will hand over to Mike Iwegbu to introduce our speaker. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph. Okay, all right, thank you all. Good evening, C89, class of 89. For some people, it's, I would say, maybe 35 years ago that I saw a number of us. It's good we've been able to come back here again, at least for this. Just before I start, our speaker for tonight is around. Okay. We have a partnership between C89 and A4E Foundation to deliver, I would say, some lectures. So this evening, we have with us Dr. Sylvia Okoro. Okay, and she will be talking about mental health wellness. Okay, Dr. Sylvia Okoro is a qualified medical doctor and also a registered nurse stroke midwife. She holds a master's degree in public health from the University of Port Harcourt, okay, in River State, okay, and she's currently nearing completion of a doctorate degree in public health, also from the same university. Additionally, she possesses specialty certifications in mental health and wellness from the University of Washington. Her primary focus is on improving healthcare and promoting public health globally. Alongside her clinical practice, Dr. Sylvia has played a pivotal role as a public health physician, with her position as the head of COVID-19 home-based management with the River State Ministry of Health. This also made her a prominent figure during the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, she is currently the National Agency for Control of HIV/AIDS coordinator. Dr. Sylvia is also the founder and CEO of HealthLink and Bridge Initiative, and she's currently the project manager for the recent implementation of electronic medical records ongoing within Nigerian police force hospitals across the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Dr. Sylvia is also a devoted Christian. So without much ado, we'll leave the stage for Dr. Sylvia to speak to us. It's 6:06 now. She will speak for another 45 minutes. By 6:50 thereabouts, she would stop. We'll take 10 minutes for question and answers. Dr. Sylvia, you have the stage, please. Thank you for 45 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the C89 set, our founding fathers. Well, thank you so much for all you've been doing, and thank you for this great move, innovation to bring this topic to light. And I can tell you, there is no better moment and time to discuss mental health than the period that we are. I mean, in the last 2 months, I've been privileged to give this topic to various audiences, to the Nigerian police, to the professionals, healthcare professionals in Kenya. and some healthcare professionals in Nigeria, and now I'm doing that with the C89. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to give two scenarios because I like giving this talk with practical examples so we can actually identify and actually, know what is happening. First is we are all made up of people from different walks of life. And every day there's this everyday routine, whether you're a man or woman. So I'm going to start with a man. So let's assume Saturday, Sunday, you were still working, and then Monday morning you didn't sleep well at night and you have to wake up by 5 a.m. and then you have to go to the office, and in the office you're being visited, or you have a lot of emails, you have a lot of letters that are in front of you that you need to, and a lot of things that you need to do, and you kept doing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, midweek. You're still choked, you're not done with what you're supposed to do for the week. It's as if, God should give you more extra days, and you start seeing your strength going down. You start seeing stress setting in. You start seeing you so overwhelmed with these activities. And then Friday, another Friday. People say, thank God it's Friday. But yet, you don't seem to be happy as you used to be growing up when you were younger. Now you're also faced with carrying your workload from the office to the family. That is for the man. For the woman, we say women are superwomen. I don't know if we are women in this group. Now, we are faced with a lot. You see this woman, she goes to the kitchen. She's a working class lady, and then she has to come back and enter the kitchen, and then she has to do school runs in the morning, because now things are kind of changing because men are now doing school runs, okay, because women are now working and she has to do school runs. She has no time for exercise and all that. Sunday, weekends, she has to entertain in-laws, she has to prepare things for and for visitors that be coming and all that. For the children, what do we see? So you understand that everyone is affected by what we are going to discuss. Now, the children, how to wake up 4 a.m. For those of you living in Lagos, I visited Lagos, my project with the Nigerian police, Ikeja and Falomo. I was in Lagos since September, August, September. I felt like I can't live in the city, even though people say the best city for them. But how do you cope? From Falomo to Ikeja, where I was kept, the traffic was hell until I had to request for an escort vehicle that will be carrying me from Ikeja to Falomo. At least, despite that, there is nothing Siren could do at the peak when workers are leaving the office. And you start asking yourself, what is really happening? Now, you can imagine a kid who must wake up by 4 a.m. to go to school, and then parents have devised means of telling their teachers to keep these kids till 5 p.m. for them, so that at least it will rhyme with when they are leaving their office. And you see a little child staying at school till 5 p.m. and comes back home and then meet the same stress at home, has to do all his or her homework in order to wake up by 4 a.m. to start again. So all this, both professionals, both non-professional, we are all affected. I give you my own little story, my own story. For me, I also was affected by this problem. Yeah. But for me, it's more like precarious trauma, because I found myself with patients who every day you have no idea. You don't know what their day will be. You don't know if they are going to survive or not. And then I kept taking care of COVID patients. For those who think that COVID wasn't real, I was a case manager. I was deep into cases, very serious cases, and I see patients die every day. I see families, children lose both father and mother as a result of COVID. Of course, Rivers State was an epicenter, and then I was deep into that. And imagine the trauma, the precarious trauma that I have to face on a situation where a man that I was to evacuate, because I was in charge of the home-based care, and because the man's case was serious, I needed to evacuate him. But he told me, doctor, for 35 years, I have not separated from my family. Now, isolation is more like taking me away from my family. Please, doctor, do not allow me to die. at that point, I felt like I was a mini god. I felt like I could know what tomorrow would be for this man, and I gave him my word. And to shock everyone on this call, 2 days after, that man died. So what do you think will be getting into my mind? Was it my fault? Would I have left him at home? Should I have listened to him and all that? So all this scenario, we are all conversant with that. So imagine that we now, everybody on this call, we now have a tool, a strategy that could help everybody to cope with his or her mental health. We have a practice tools that you can practice every day and make you the many days, the many years of your life, you make it look seamless and you don't care about what is happening in the world. Imagine we have that. And that is what this topic is all about. So I'm going to drill you on how you can form that resilient and how you can form mental health. So what are we going to be discussing today? What are your outcomes in this discussion? You're going to understand some basic definition. I mean, the definition as it is, not as we used to know, as practical as it should be on this discussion. We are going to look at facts and not myths. We are also going to see some of the common mental disorders. When we talk about mental health, what are we looking at? Mental health, mental disorders, and all that. We're also going to look at the science of this mental health, the science of well-being. Are there some relationship between the brain and our lifestyle and what we are doing and how to promote that? According to WHO, so let's look at some definition. Of course, World Health Organization is the standard for us. The World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of mental well-being. There are some terms I want you to pick. A state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. Look at 3 phrases. You cope with stress. Your ability to cope. No doubt there are stresses. You're going to understand that. Not just coping with them, intentionally realizing that they exist, but now you're working hard to be well and then contribute to your community. So the word there, the magic word there is intentional. Being intentional now is not what they say, is not what Dr. Silva said or what this group is talking about. But now you are now aware that there is stress. You are aware that Nigeria is stressful. Not just Nigeria, all over the world. You are aware that there is poverty. You are aware that there is hardship. Whether you want to call it this government or the past, you are aware of that. And then being aware of that, you now decided to say, okay, I'm aware it has happened, but then I want to live healthy. I want to be well. I want to cope with it so as to contribute to the community. And that is where mental health starts. And that's where when we are defining health, we say it is not just infirmity, not just when you're sick, but health encompasses social, physical, emotional. And so if you say, well, I've not been sick, I don't have typhoid, I don't have malaria, I don't have prostate cancer, but because I live healthy. But the question now will be, if your wife offends you or your children irritates you, how do you handle that? And you see something in the media, how do you handle that? So that shows whether you're healthy or not. So let's look at the concept of well-being. Every time you hear about well-being is in essence a deep sense of pleasantness. Take note. In the first one, we are seeing an intentional habit, intentional consciousness. Now we are seeing a sense, an unconscious sense of pleasantness we experience within. Depending on the level of pleasantness, such states as happiness is described as peace, joy and exuberance. I can tell you, in one of the one of the studies in my medical school, we have this great mind Maslow. So you could research on him. Maslow actually described, the hierarchy of needs by using a pyramid. Okay, so maybe when you went to school it was 5 pyramid, but now Maslow has increased to 7 pyramids, 7 items on the pyramid. The seventh, I'm interested in the seventh hierarchy of need, which is what? Aesthetic. Aesthetic and self-actualization. Maslow said when a man gets to that point in age where you become self-actualized, you start loving beauty and nature, and you start giving back to the community. That in essence is success, I can tell you. So for you are all jubilating how many years you've left school. So, and you're seeing yourself for the first time together on a webinar. The question now will be, what next after now? Some of you have built your house in Lekki. Some of you have 2-3 cars. Some of you married wives. Some of you have children. Some of you are living here. You can travel the world. But the question now, do you think you have achieved self-actualization? Do you think there is something lacking, that every time you see, you feel you're empty, you feel there's a void within you? If you feel that, then this topic is for you. Yeah, so when you get to that point where you start having peace of mind, whether Nigeria is on fire or not, when you start feeling happy for yourself, whether your wife is giving you trouble or not, whether you have school fees to pay or not, but you have this peace within yourself, and your family also understands that and follows suit and are contented with what they are seeing, then you can say well-being you have achieved that. But what about wellness? Well-being is not wellness. So wellness is an active process of making intentional choices that promote fulfilling, vibrant, and healthy life. So now you're not going to make the choice. Do I drink alcohol 7 bottles because my friends have invited me to a show and there is free drinks, and you have Clendivich 21 years, Clendivich 41. Oh God, this drink is very powerful. I need to have a test of it. Okay, so you want to drink and drink to stupor because nobody's going to control you. Okay, so, but at the point where you intentionally make life choices to sleep or not to sleep, to drink more alcohol or not to drink, to be intentional about your diet. Yes, you used to love meat, but this time around you tell your wife, please, this time around, no frying in the house. This time around, no, no junk food in the house. Yes, the children crave for shawarma. They crave for meat pies. They crave for ice cream. For crying out loud, this time around, we wouldn't do that. We will have to regulate the children from doing that because it is actually bad habit. We didn't start that way. And so we need to teach them to be conscious. So when you start making those choices, those positive choices about yourself, about wealth, then you will say you are not attending to wellness. So how important is mental well-being? So I want to bring the two now. You can imagine. So your mental, intentional coping with life stresses, adding to your conscious right choices that you're making in order to live healthy, and then being happy and peaceful with yourself and your community. That is mental well-being. I hope everybody got this. That is mental well-being. So you cannot do without that. And there is no health without mental health. I can tell you for free. There is no health without mental health. Okay, so it's very important. So why should we bring this mental? Why is this so important? It is very important because a lot of mental and psychological health problems have gained prominence as a major public health concern. Yes, to us as public health specialists, we could tell you that, we're no longer looking at communicable diseases. We're no longer looking at this is where it starts. I can tell you. Before, we used to say, okay, there are some degenerative disorders and people are so scared of getting old because there are 3 things that affect you when you're getting older. One is pain. Yeah. How do you know you're getting old? I can tell you, it's pain. When you start feeling this pain in your back, pain in your hip and all that, you can do the things that you used to do before. And then you start forgetting. Yeah. Yes. You start forgetting. So those are the things that you say, oh God, you want to call your son Henry and start calling Emeka. There is problem. I mean, you knew you pick your car key, and then you came out and you forgot your car key, and you got to your room again and you forgot. But you knew there was something that brought you to your room, but this time around you can't remember anymore. And so you have to go back to where you're coming from before you remember that it was key that you want to pick. At that point, you're getting old, I can tell you. So this things makes people scared of getting old. But that shouldn't be, because a lot of stressors, the brain and all that, a lot of things are actually happening biologically and leading to causing all that. Okay, so because of this public health problems associated with mental health, and that's why it's very important that we discuss it. Is also as important as physical health. Like I told you, there is no health without mental health. And both mental health and well-being affect our health. So everything, like I've explained, is involved. Your feeling, your act, what you do. It influences how you respond to stressors, how you interact with people, your social relationship with others. Yes. So that is why it's very important. I can tell, if you're not healthy mentally, I mean, you're not at peace in your neighborhood, you're not at peace, even in the church. If you're an elder, you're a problem to people, because you're not a good shepherd anymore. People no longer come to you. And so if you don't have good mental health, the family is scattered. If you don't have good mental, you can't be a good CEO, you can't be a good boss. I mean, your subordinates are so angry at you. I mean, when you're coming, they're so scared at you when they should actually admire you. You know, everybody, I mean, you're so antagonistic and so irritated and all that. So that is why you need to watch yourself when you start losing it, when you start losing touch with reality, when you start being when the whole thing starts coming there. And that brings us to some of those mental disorders that when we see in our, and it's so important, I can tell you, as owners of companies and bosses and CEOs, so you can recognize the simple signs from your workers, from your employee, because even from your drivers and your housemates, you actually don't know that there are people closest to you that actually exhibit some of these signs and symptoms. And so when you're a driver, you hear stories how a driver stabbed a madam. For crying out loud, what is the problem? Is it that this woman has not really recognized that this driver has started showing some irritating and some attitudes that we are not there? When your housemates start hitting your child without mercy, when your housemates start getting angry and breaking things, that is a sign that your housemate or your house help or your cleaner or whoever it is, or your driver, is losing it, having a mental problem. And that is the time to give them break. So when your subordinate and your employees start acting irrationally and you are the head, that is the time for you to slow down and bring them and know what is the problem. So mental disorder is characterized by clinically, take notes, is it different from some mental, we're talking about mental disorders. Mentally, people have one problem or the other that are not so severe. You know, in psychiatry, we say all men are mad, but depending on the degree of madness. Yes. You know what that slogan means? Everybody is mad. So you don't allow me to bring my own madness out. Okay. So depending on the degree of madness, okay. So if we recognize this, that everybody is mad. So, but two people cannot be mad at the same time, right? So that is now the level where one is healthy and the other. But when there is clinically significant symptoms that you see, that is what we characterize as mental disorder, right? Not illness. So people can be mentally ill one way or the other, which you're going to see. So, but this time around, and when that significantly disturbs the individual cognition and emotional regulation or behavior, when it starts affecting how the individual acts, you know, when you start making the individual to be harmful to himself and to his neighbor, at that point, there is time to take the person to the hospital, to expert. In 2019, 1 in every 8 people, 970 million people around the world were living with a mental disorder. Can you beat that? 1 in every 8 people are living with mental disorder. So it might be 1, 2, 3, 4 of anyone on this call. It might not be, we might be healthy. It might be outside, but I can tell you. So wherever we find ourselves, depression is projected to become a top leading cause of global disease burden by 2030. Do you agree? Depression. People are really depressed. Let's face the truth. Even the pastor and the reverend on the pulpit no longer exhibit that happiness and contentment that exhibits Christ-like. That when they are preaching and they tell you, I'm a Christian, I'm content. When you see them talking this time around, you see that they are really depressed. Church is no longer bringing the way it used to be. I mean, many problems now in the church as it used to be, they're no longer satisfying the needs of the church anymore. I mean, pastor has to face the reality, to go look for job, because this is not the time when you say we are paying tithe. We don't even have enough to eat than to pay tithe to the pastor. So he has to look for second job to do, and then when that happens, he got depressed because he used all his life in the pastoral work and didn't go to school to learn skills and go to higher education, because he felt pastoral work would give him his bread till he dies. And now he's not working out again. So what do we do? So you can see it's everywhere. It's really, really everywhere. So we have post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, how do you recognize that? Sometimes maybe you have trauma, maybe a girl was raped. Yeah, so maybe a girl child had some traumatic encounter, or maybe a wife had some experiences before you married her. She has some childhood experiences that is now telling on the marriage, and you have to understand that. Or maybe the man also have some heartbreaks and all that, and a little signal that is getting now from the wife he married will now start bringing back those memories. And maybe you were actually attacked by armed robber, and then the gunshot, and then when you hear such signal, it actually triggers something. So post-traumatic stress disorder is number 1. Depression is the second. Anxiety and panic disorder. I can tell you, a lot of my patients now tell me they have panic disorder. Of course, you cannot really say for sure that someone has panic disorder. There are a lot of tools and clinical tests that we run on them in order to ascertain that truly, and then define it as anxiety or panic disorder. Otherwise, that somebody is just, scared and, fidgeting, you can't really say that this person is anxious. But I can tell you, everybody now in Nigeria, let me not say everybody, 80% is anxious. And, we have that data to prove that we are anxious about tomorrow. We are scared, unknown. So the fear of unknown, the fear of tomorrow is actually affecting a lot of us. Schizophrenia, insomnia. I mean, schizophrenia is a situation mental where somebody lost his touch with reality, with time and place, and all that. And those things, somebody can decide was driving to his house and suddenly move to another street and forgets his house. I mean, it happens. I can tell you. It happens, yes. So insomnia, a situation where people no longer sleep. Yes, I want to emphasize on this. We no longer sleep, yes. And how do you know you have insomnia? Because of the limited time, this insomnia is a big topic on its own, because a lot of persons have this problem. I mean, you see yourself, people think they are sleeping. We tell people sleep 6-7 hours every day. Every day. But however, because of the way things have gone, but I can tell you what matters to all doctors now is quality of sleep and no longer the quantity of sleep, because somebody might be sleeping 8 hours and those 8 hours, you're being haunted by witches and wizards, and your dog will bark, you're waking up, you're going to the bathroom to wee and come back. So 8 good hours you're on the bed, and yet you're not sleeping, you're not resting. And yet you wake up very fairly tired. And the age where you're heading to, when you start getting to 60, 65, 70, you start feeling this. Okay, because you have used all your active time, brain, that you should have rested, develop the habit of sleeping qualitatively. You've used it for work. And so, how do you know you have insomnia? You know you have insomnia when you travel for a vacation. At that point, you are not meant to work. You're supposed to rest. And even there, on vacation, you find out that you still cannot sleep. That is a danger point. You have insomnia. and you have to look for a doctor to take care of that. You have to look for a psychologist that will work on you to actually not to take sedative, because it's actually very dangerous. At that point, some psychological counseling can help and all that. So there is no doubt that men are most affected by mental disorders. Yes, we have all the facts to prove that men are more affected, and is not everybody. One of the facts is everybody is affected by this, but we are just saying that we have more population in men. Of course, no doubt, because men has been, you are ordained by God to take care of us. And you have also been sanctioned by tradition and authorized by law to do that. So you have three things on you. One, ordained by God as a head of the family and head of others. And then you're also sanctioned by tradition, because you just have to do it because men are there to work and come back with the money. And then you're also authorized by law to be a good husband. So it's not me that is saying it. Everything is on you and you just have to do it. Okay, so how you manage this will also show what kind of mental health you are. And but that doesn't mean that the women, we are also complement of you. And so we feel that to reduce the stress that you have, the women have to understand, we have to complement you. We have to reduce the stress that you face. We have to take responsibilities as well to ensure that coming back home, you're also healthy, because you face the stress at work. And so I shouldn't add to that. The children have to understand that. So there's a conscious effort by everyone to teach every member of the family, to teach everybody at workplace that this is it. Every company now should be teaching mental health, because really, I can tell you, it's really, really a problem. It's traumatic. And so recent studies have linked work with higher level of physical, psychosocial, and anticipatory stress. No doubt, we are all anticipating. Fuel is rising. Oh God, dollar is 1,600. Who knows? It might get to 2,000. Fuel is increasing. Oh, who knows? It might get to 2,000 per liter. On our own, we anticipate stress. What can we do on our own? We are faced with it. For people living in, Spain, did you see last week the flood? 211 people killed out of Spain flood. We never anticipated that developed world like Spain, like Florida will be faced with this kind of disaster. Maybe Nigeria now is a bad government. But look at it, it's becoming a global disaster this time around. People are faced with one different problem or the other. So when you concentrate on your country, so what do? If you are in Canada where wildfire just come and consume the whole community, what will you do? Yeah, we should be lucky a little. We should be happy a little that we are even in an environment where earthquake cannot come and swallow over 1,000 people on earth. So you see, so these are things I'm bringing up for you to not anticipate anymore, but to just intentionally accept, and then try to see how to fix it. So we've said a lot of data. We don't want to go over that again. But what are the risk factors for poor mental health? What are the risk factors for poor mental health? Perception of lack of control or decision-making control. When we'll be entering the science of the brain and what control decision, you understand this fact very well. So, but when you don't have lack of control, your decision making is retarded, is affected, is a risk. Yeah. When there is high demand, excessive workload, pressure to complete tasks, you can actually control how you manage yourself. You can control how you manage your work. I know, yes, some works are demanding, but let me tell you the truth, right? Like during the COVID, we lost a lot of healthcare professionals. I lost a professor. My main professor, Professor Kolowale, sorry to mention his greatest memory. He is the best in Unijos, the best pharmacist I've seen. One of the best pharmacists that NAFDAC has ever heard. COVID killed him. I can tell you that same day, they were clamoring for his position. So what are we saying? So So even you want to work and impress who? To the detriment of your skin on your body. I can tell you, when you are not there, a new CEO is replaced. You understand? Great people have died. Owners of company. That same day, another CEO is replaced. So why don't you take care of yourself while you have the time to do that? Because a dead man cannot say, a dead man cannot worship God. A dead man cannot be a CEO. A dead man cannot be a husband. So you need to understand this fact very well. How many years do we have on earth? If you're lucky, 80 years according to Bible standard. Okay, so please, these are risk factors, a lot of work, lack of personal qualities. There are a lot of qualities that you need to develop. There are a lot of qualities that children need to develop. So if we say that, okay, this era, the baby boomer and all that, the Gen Z, oh my God, a world where they don't give a damn what happens as long as it's social media. No, that is mental problem. So there should be an intentional. So for we getting to that point where Maslow said self-actualization. So we'll start thinking, when we get to that point where we are now self-actualizing, so we want to give back to teach these ones, the Gen Z, what they need to do to take care of this planet, what they need to do to handle your resources when you are no more. And don't forget, the Bible said, you that you're building and all that, how do you know that your children after you will take care of your resources? So you're building your bank account for your first son. You're paying your first son's school fees ahead of time, 10 years ahead. You're building skyscraper, money that you'd have used to take your wife on vacation. You're building it for your first son. When your first son comes, your first son will say, Daddy, this is old school building. I'm building digital house, Google house. So that money that you have used to build skyscraper at Lekki for your son will demolish it too. Better take some time and travel with your wife and go to Miami Beach and enjoy yourself. I can tell you, that time that you're allowing your wife to stress herself and do all the school runs without going to do exercise, without buying treadmill for her, without making her to lose weight, those children will not be there. They will all get married and you and your wife will become back to square one. By then you're looking at her, she's looking at you. So please invest on yourself, on your mental health now and all that. So there are a lot of social determinants. There is no doubt we know about that. I've explained that a lot. Your early childhood can affect your mental health, educational background, unemployment and job insecurity, that working life condition. We've emphasized that so much. Stigma makes people not to open up and say they have this problem. When you feel yourself that you're depressed, you have to talk to a seasoned psychiatrist, seasoned psychologist. They are all everywhere. So you call, you Google and you find them. So don't be, of course, we know we're working towards not stigmatizing mental disorders. So people find themselves, how do I start? Because I have this issue. How do I go and tell my boss that I'm not getting myself? I'm hearing voices every day. I'm taking that, I'm assuming this role of grandiosism. Grandiosism is also another form of mental disorder where a subordinate will sit down on the chairman's table and say, I am the chairman, I'm the boss, I'm the CEO. When your houseboy now suddenly sit down on your seat, when you're not there, and start assuming the role of the father, and he's your houseboy, or when your driver say, this is my car key, mental disorder have set in. So what do you do at that point? So, but because of stigma, not telling you that I've been having this problem, I've been having sleepless nights, believing that I am you, I want to be you. In fact, to the point that I even want to sleep with your wife. Oh, so unfortunate, because what would the people say at that point? So that has actually led to a lot of problem, housing and all that. So let us go to the science of well-being now. There are just two biological facts I just want people to understand. When people are angry, I've been emphasizing on angry, unnecessarily being angry, unnecessarily being irritated. What actually is happening? There are two fighters. How will I put them? Two terrorists. Yeah, they are good terrorists anyway. They are not the Boko Haram terrorists, but they are terrorists. They are antagonistic to one another. One is the prefrontal cortex, and the second is amygdala. Now, the prefrontal cortex situated at your front forehead is actually the seat of thinking and reasoning. Yes, that is the function. The executive function, they control 9 aspects of our attitude. They control how empathetic you are to life. Empathy means putting yourself in another person's shoe. They control prefrontal cortex controls your insight to things, your response to flexibility, and all that, emotions, and then body regulation, temperature, and all that. Morality. I mean, it's so sad. Somebody was talking, they say one doctor on social media said that biologically, men are polygamous biologically. Hey, can you imagine? Okay, yes, it has gone to the point where promiscuity is now excess everywhere. So, it's just like that. But that shouldn't be, because the Holy Book is still there as a standard for us to take care of self, because these things leads to a lot of stress, a lot of emotion, a lot of disunity, a lot of problem, heartache, lots of money, and all that. So it is the prefrontal cortex that control that, your intuition, your attuned communication, and fear modulation. Now, 9 basic things that the prefrontal cortex, but just note that for me, it's the seat of thinking and reasoning. Okay, now, but look at what happens in this other small. So now look at how big the prefrontal cortex, look at the shape of the prefrontal cortex, but look at the small, tiny, small organ like the size of an almond called the amygdala. What does this do? Yeah, the next slide. It's more like the brain emergency sensor. It identifies whether incoming input is a threat or survival. Okay, so the amygdala can actually detect threats and make you want to survive. They will call it the fight. I'm coining it to stress. You understand? Because that's actually what controls how well you handle stress or not. That's what we call the amygdala hijack. Okay, the amygdala, what it does, in as much as it wants you, it identifies when there is danger, but it cannot differentiate between real danger and other fake danger. It cannot really dictate that, but it is there to help. For instance, when they say there's fire in the house and you can jump the fence, what actually helped you to jump, your fight hormone will come out and you flee from the source of danger and all that. So 3 ways you want to respond to this stressors or stress: either you attack it, or you fight it, or you move away from the stress. So that's basically what the amygdala do. But look at it this way. Now you get angry. When you get angry, your sense of reasoning will be hijacked, because the amygdala will sense it as danger. Danger is coming. Like this, you have released certain signal to it that there is danger, but it does not really recognize whether this danger is triggered by something outside, external or internal. So at that point, your sense of reasoning will be hijacked by the amygdala. So we call it the amygdala hijacked. And when that happens, you know what happens? You become irrational. Your sense of reasoning, all those amazing 9 qualities that you have seen, becomes the opposite. So take this very serious. Instead of becoming empathetic, you become what? You become very, very mean. You're no longer compassionate. You become wicked. Instead of becoming reasonable in a decision, you become very irrational. Okay, and all that. So instead of becoming happy, you become sad. Okay, so that's it. And that is what leads to stress. Yes. So now you've seen scientifically there is a basis why people are angry. There's a basis why people act irrational. There's a basis why a mature man will be fighting in public. A mature man will come to NNPC fuel dump and be fighting with another driver. A mature man will be on the traffic and is fighting. A situation where a senator will slap an Uber man. Oh my God. What are we talking about? So These things happen. A man on his own will raise his hand and slap a woman because she's your subordinate in the office. What mistake that you do? That your sense of reasoning that she's a weaker vessel will take over you? That you have to raise your hand and slap a wife? No. Or a woman slap a husband? Or not hold a man on the neck? No. So you see, okay, so stress is just your body well responding to any kind of situation. There are good stresses, yes. Stress is not bad in itself, I can tell you. So we have chronic stress, we have mental health disorder. So chronic stress is the one when it gets to the point where you can't control yourself anymore, when it has led to mental disorder and all that. When you can't really detect that this is time for you to rest, you just keep moving and keep putting yourself on the screen when you feel so tired and stressed. Some of you now, as I'm talking now, some people are dozing self. Some people might be sleeping on their bed. That is a problem with chronic stress because you can't even listen. Your seat of insight and your emotional trigger, something that incites you to know that this topic is very interesting for me, but stress has taken over. So you just have to sleep, I can tell you. So sources of stress, there are a lot of sources of stress we have, but the most dangerous one is the oxidative stress. As a medical doctor, I'll tell you that the stress that the cells produce that you can't control, that's the stress that comes from the toxins around our environment, the pollution and the unhealthy food that we eat. And when it gets to the point where your cells are damaged and your cellular health are destroyed and reactive oxygen species start setting in, and at that point, that is dangerous. And when you start destroying your cells, then of course cells form tissue form organs, and organs form system. And so when oxidative stress start destroying a part of the cells like the heart, and then it start leading to organ damage, and then the whole cardiovascular system will pack up and a man will just slump while walking, while driving, and all that. So that's the most dangerous of all this for me. And we have to take note of that. And how do we control all that? How do we control that? Promoting mental well-being. There are a lot of ways we can do that. For the part of the government and the part of health workers and implementing national partners, I think working and coming out with programs and strategy to reduce stigma, or the HR in every department, in every office have a role to play in this to ensure that the well-being of their staff are well maintained. You have to do that. I was shocked when I went to Kenya. And one of the things I observe in East Africa, they don't joke with their exercise. And so between the hours of 1 and 1:15, the CEO, everybody shut down, everybody come out at the balcony and just do like a kind of 10 minutes exercise, movement exercise. They play music. Everybody in a multinational company come out for 15 minutes. I was asking, how long have you been doing this? Since for more than 10 years for those who are older. So can corporate organizations, can the well-being of your staff and your personnel be paramount, be a priority to you? Can the well-being of people you're teaching be a priority for you? Can the well-being of your family, your wife and children be a priority for you? Can the well-being of anybody be a priority for you? So that's how to promote that. Create a safe space and enabling organizational culture. So that is the point I just illustrated. We can really do it. You can come out. They also have a situation where workers, sometimes companies have places where you go and eat. You go like a restaurant and all that. Can you make it more organizational? Can you make it more healthy by encouraging that, folks interact with one another, use that period, male versus female versus, they talk to one another, they talk to us, and CEOs come together, relax and all that. Not just this one time going for conference and retreat. You don't achieve anything because those retreats is still stress on your part. Institute peer support, mindfulness, and all that. So how do you engage in well-being practices? So these are some of the things I want to teach you in wrapping up this topic. And I want to, because these are proven science taught by Washington University. I learned it, I've been doing it, it's been working. When I feel so stressed and drained, I tend to remember one or two of this practice. Is a tool, is a scientific evidence-based tool, and there are 5 of them. And if you apply it, I can bet you promote your well-being. Number 1, becoming conscious of your well-being. That is the first step. And I explained that at the outset, that being conscious of the fact that there is problem, being conscious of the fact that social media are aggravating our anxiety, being conscious of the fact that bad news are on the media all the time. But so what? So then you now take the decisive decision by making a choice of turning down the TV, of turning down the media. I don't want to hear anymore. You bring your family together for family togetherness. You look for something that makes you happy. You take a fresh air and visit nature and see what happens. You turn down the television set. Why do you want to kill yourself up? And Fubara and Wike problem, for crying out loud, they are brothers. Why do you want to kill your head on that? Emefule is this and that. Why do you want to kill your head on that? He has enjoyed his life when he enjoyed his Bob Whiskey and all that. Why do you want to scatter your head on that? For crying out loud. In as much as you want to keep abreast to world news, but when it becomes anxious to you, this is the time to say, I want to turn down. That's the way you can promote well-being. That is number one. So if you've not been conscious of the fact that there is problem, so I want to quote the scripture here because this is the perilous time. This is the end time. And if you recognize as a student of the Bible that we are living in the end time, it has been prophesied that there'll be earthquakes, there'll be food shortages, there'll be sicknesses, and there'll be problem one other from one place to another, then you will know that the president that we have is an imperfect man and something is controlling him, which is making it becoming perilous, and there's nothing, man cannot direct his step. So when you become conscious of this, you will not bother yourself. All you need to do, try as much as possible to see how to survive to the extent that you can, for crying out loud. The days without technology, our forefathers lived very healthy. They were doing very well. So if you want to go to your villa, to the village and live, at least you have trees and oxygen to breathe in. Please go. I mean, Lagos, I ask myself, what quantity of oxygen are you people taking in? Because houses are built without trees, and you've forgotten the reasonableness that trees give us oxygen and we give them carbon dioxide. And so why would you build a house and you don't put trees and plant trees on it where you can get enough oxygen? So when you start having that arthritic pain and aches and pain and heart disorder, just know that your oxygen level has gone down. Exactly. So your lifestyle is leading you to death, and you have to stop it. The second one is breathing and movement exercise. Please, 5,000 steps they say every day. Sedentary lifestyle is not for you. And so if you must maintain your mental well-being and be happy with yourself, breathe well, and move well. So you could do a dancing step, you could do Google, you could do dancing step, you could walk around. 15 minutes is okay. The third one is your emotional well-being, compassion. In life, for you to survive, for you to have good mental well-being, you need to be compassionate. Without compassion, there's nothing you can do. Be compassionate. Everybody on this call, be compassionate. Be compassionate to even if it's a driver. Try to put a smile on that driver's face. Ask the driver, how is your family? Not have you put water in my car? Why are you coming so late? You don't even know what happened to the driver. Don't you know you also have a wife? How about now? Even your cleaner, try to make your cleaner smile. At least buying one shirt for your cleaner is not a bad idea. Of your cook. Make your cook well. Sometimes just pack, December is coming, pack the leftovers and give that your housemaid and your cook to send to his family or to our family in the village. I mean, be compassionate. When you are compassionate, you see that you will be compassionate to your leader, be compassionate to your neighbor, be compassionate to everything around you. And so when you do that, you see that you're taking care of your mental health. Find meaning and purpose to life. Why are you there? Why were you made? Why are you the CEO? Why are you listening to me? Why are you C89? What have you done so far? You left school. Since you left school, C89, are there no students that are still in command Lagos? Have you gone to visit your alumni? Have you gone to visit your school? I mean, is the condition as it is? 5,000 naira every month you contribute to make those students okay. Is it too bad? When you sew uniform like 20 pieces and go give to those children, is it too bad? Be compassionate. I mean, self-actualization is giving back to society what the society has given you. And finally, be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful to God that at least you're alive. Oh, Tinubu is there, but be grateful that God kept you alive to see Tinubu at least. Be grateful that God kept you alive to see where this nonsense, everything is happening. That you are alive when subsidy was removed, and yet we don't know whether it was removed or not. That you are alive when these things are. Be grateful to God. When you are grateful, you will not be angry with the system. You will not be angry, because the more you get angry, the more you release stress hormone. And as you release stress hormone, it impacts on your endorphin, and it impacts on your acetylcholine, on in fact to other neuro hormones that could trigger and then make you have high blood pressure or increase your sugar level. So please, your serotonin level is very important. So please do not get so aggravated with anger. So manage your stress very well. Have good mental health support. If you think you're losing it, if you're depressed, if you see that suicidal syndrome has entered, please, it's time to talk to a qualified psychiatrist or clinical psychologist. It is time. We are there to help you if you need our help on a private setting. Get adequate sleep. Like I said, please prioritize your health. If you're not there, life goes on. Prioritize your health, I beg you, and then create a comfortable sleep environment. Do not carry your laptop to the bed. Do not carry your phone while you're eating. Enjoy the taste of the food that your wife has prepared now. Your wife has served delicious food that you're watching Man U and Liverpool. And your high blood pressure. For those of you who are Man U fan, you're crying. Please, I beg you. So do not carry those things. Avoid substance, avoid alcohol and all that. And above all, eat healthy. Eat healthy. Eat good food. I always like ending my talk by food. My founder of modern medicine said, make food your medicine and medicine thy food. Okay, make food thy medicine and medicine thy food. So please eat healthy. I beg you, eat healthy so that you can at least live healthy. Plant plants in your backyard. Even if you don't have Lego, you don't have anything, you don't have garden, you have used all the garden to build houses so you can have more rents. But you can use flower pots to plant those amazing things that are very good to life. Okay, you can use your flower pot to plant them. You can do your poultry instead of going to eat chicken that are being passed and pesticides and chemicalized and all that. Cancer is on the increase. For you men, please take care of your health. I beg you, take care of your health. And if you do that, you're mindful, you will see that we can actually overcome the fight against mental disorder, and we'll live at peace with one another. And the C89 says, we'll make this world a better place for the younger generation to thrive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sylvia Okoro. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. And it's 7 o'clock on the dot. We don't know if we have any questions. If you have any questions, could you please maybe raise your hand up? But electronically now. Okay, if you could, then we will see here. Then we could call you. I think you have 2 hands up already, so we will call the 2 hands. But I think we need to give her a round of applause. I don't know if you could see this on your screen and say a big thank you to Dr. Sylvia Okoro. Thank you, Dr. Sylvia, for this. Okay, let's take the first one. Evelyn, okay, your hand is up. Your hand was up first, and after you, we take Nobet Omole. Let's go.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Dr. Sylvia. Mine is a question, and I know that, like you alluded to, data and science has said that we have more men, but I want you to speak quickly or briefly on the impact of hormonal changes for women, and how does this contribute, if at all or not, to stress, mental health issues?
Okay, thank you. Can I take the second one? Let me just the question.
All right. So, Omole Nobet, please, could you ask your question so she could take all of them together? You can unmute yourself. Thank you. Hello, Nobet. You can unmute yourself. Your hand is up. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good evening. Thanks for the presentation. Quite a wonderful presentation, anyway. Though I joined 30 minutes ago. I have two questions, anyway.
Okay.
First, the men seems to be under more pressure than the women, and it's pretty very difficult for men to manage stress than women. That's my first question because of the challenges we have in the country.
Okay. All right. So, Dr. Sylvia, if you don't mind, if you could take both questions together. We're already 2 minutes above
Hello?
out of time.
Hello?
Yes. Hello,
I
Norbert.
can hear you.
Yeah. What is the connection between meeting target and stress? I use myself as an example. I have a target of, doing this or achieving that at a certain point in time, and I'm not able to achieve it. And I have like maybe 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days to meet that target. I may not be able to, use these methods you have come up with to fight stress because I am hell bent on meeting those targets. Because if I don't meet those targets, it will be very difficult for me. So how do I manage such situations?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for your amazing question. And I want to agree with the first question, women, because we are all affected as well with that. So when you talk about hormonal changes playing a vital role in the way women handle stress and their life, I mean, you're very correct, because there are different stages in life, in a woman's life, that actually leads to hormonal fluctuation. One is puberty, yeah, for the teenage daughters and all that. Menstrual menarche, the first menstrual flow, menstruation is there. You also look at pregnancy, for crying out loud. Pregnancy also have a way of impacting on a woman. And of course, pregnancy comes with a lot of hormonal problems, hormones and all that. And you also, and of course, pregnancy on its own. It's not a sickness, it's not a disease, but it comes with certain other, predisposing complications. You also have pregnancy-induced hypertension, gestational and all that, hypertension and all that. What about postpartum when a woman is giving, lactating? This thing can tell. And within that period, the man in our own tradition and culture, the mother-in-law is hitting it on the woman. You must do this, you must do that. There's kind of food they want you to eat that your body does not need. What of menopause? Men or andropause, the men also enter their own andropause as well. You see that this whole thing can also influence our physical health, I can tell you, and all that. It can make your emotion to be imbalanced. Yes, that is true. Can trigger a shift with estrogen, progesterone, and all other hormones that your body needs that beautifies you and all that. It can actually tell on you. So knowing this, I will advise, my own advice is it's natural that these stages in life brings this hormone. Like I said, being intentional that there is a problem, there is something that you trigger. If you don't take care about your health as a woman, it can lead you to this. So what do? You now have to start becoming intentional to learn more about it. You have to understand the connection between this hormone that you have and the mental health that allows you to anticipate that. So because you know it's there, so what do? You have to meet others and know how they are managing their own. A lot of medical advices, and you can meet your gynecologist, you can meet your psychologist when it becomes so tiring that you cannot meet up again. I mean, mood swings set in. Okay, and so when mood swings set in, especially like me, it happens like when I'm menstruating, I tend to have mood swings. I tend to feel irritated. My diet needs to change. I don't like being around people because it's all with pain and cramps and all that. But I have to be intentional to learn that. At that point, I try to become intentional and learn some practice tools that can help me not to face situations that will trigger my emotion. Because when you jam me in that mood and I explode. So husbands also need to understand, and you yourself as a wife, you also need to talk to your husband. It's not like keeping quiet. You want to die in silence. You want to be known as a good wife. You have to tell even from the day you married him, You people are cutting. Tell him that, see, when you are menstruating, you have this problem. Okay. And so after your first baby, and you enter your second baby, you tell your husband, during my first baby, I was feeling this. Now this is my second. Let's plan it. You plan it. So you are not being intentional. You understand? Emphasizing more on the importance of you being healthy than those hormones that you're anticipating that would cause problem. So that would be my candid advice on that.
Thank you.
So for men, yeah, no doubt, facts say that you people have you're faced with pressure. Okay, let me answer the one that has to do with limits, right? I will take the two together. Meeting your targets, and of course, when you're trying to meet your targets, it induces high level of stress. You know that very well. Yes. So why is that? Because there's pressure. You're being pressurized because you want to achieve. There are a lot of tasks that are in front of you. And then you have deadlines. It is even the deadlines, like when they say there is test tomorrow and you have to read. Sometimes some of these sudden targets is good though. They are good stress because they make your brain sharp. You think very well. You're acting and working at your peak. But however, there are certain things that I think can help you to manage these two things, to be at an equilibrium, to be balanced. You understand? So targets come with expectation. And where are those expectations coming from? They are coming from your supervisors, they are coming from your heads and all that. So, and if you don't meet up, so plan yourself. So you have expectation and you have pressure. Which one do you want to choose? Pressure or the expectations? So you can also delegate, but whereby you cannot delegate, plan yourself very well. I mean, you cannot kill yourself. You understand? Fear of failure is another thing that makes you want to meet your target because you don't want to fail. But come on, you're imperfect. Men are imperfect. You're not God, so to say. So when you fear not being successful, when you fear, I need to win this award. I need to do it in such a way. Then this can affect a lot. And of course, I can agree with you that if you don't do that, your self-confidence will start winning away because you start, coming short of your expectation and all that. But please, time management. There is time constraints. Like they always say, when we are younger, we have all the time. That's what we should start teaching children now. They have all the time that they don't know what to do with the time. But now that we are adults, there are a lot of things to do and there is no time. Isn't it? Okay, so please, when you recognize that there is fatigue, there is mental disorder that is coming in, you're predisposed to a lot of things and all that, you have to be balanced. Just be balanced and all that. So be realistic in your target. Prioritize which one you need to do first and not. Give reason to your boss why you didn't do it. Is it when your wife is in labor and then your boss is telling you to come and submit a task? Your wife is in labor. Which one do you want to choose? Please call your boss and tell your boss that your wife, because you're prioritizing which one is important now. Yes. So take break. Idea, take break and not kiss yourself. But communication is very important because the Bible says there's frustration of plan when there's no confidential talk. But in the multitude of counselor, there's an accomplishment. So the one that you think is difficult, there is need to dialogue. There is time to dialogue, okay? Where you feel that you're being overwhelmed, please dialogue. And for men, please, yes, I agree with you. Men face more pressure than women, and we have given reason. Well, this one is facts that are showing that, but I must also advise that women also face their own. In fact, women are even facing more from what the first question say. You can see. So we need to be balanced. That's what I want to emphasize on this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sylvia. Thank you. Can we all please appreciate Dr. Sylvia for this, please? If you could take a minute or two. Yes, thank you very much, Evelyn, for appreciating our speaker for him. Thank you very much. We will just round up now. We will share the slide material on the C89 platform. It's also been recorded, and we would also get the video, the materials, I would say, the recording out sometime later on within the week. Okay. So I want to say thank you to you all for coming tonight, and I'm sure we'll have another session sometime next year. So over to you, Joseph. We're already 12 minutes beyond the time. Thank you.
Okay, as we round up, I would like to appreciate Dr. Sylvia. C89 appreciates you. We've picked up one or two things from this lecture, and we know that as we practice some of those tips, our well-being will greatly improve. And for C89, thank you for attending this lecture. Like I said earlier, this is the first in the series based on the collaboration between A and E and C89. So see you in the next lecture. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.